Out here, come especially to coach our senior teams and junior teams in cricket, boys and girls. As a school, we create an opportunity to develop the potential of children all around, whether it's academics as well as post-scholastics. Particularly in sports, I think as a school, we want to develop their minds and their bodies. An intelligent coach who's got vast experience and his ability. I saw him this morning interacting with the students. He's got very keen observant skills as well as the ability to interact and coming down to the level of the students. Thank you very much, Matthew. Our students will greatly benefit from you, and not just our students. I believe our nation will benefit from you. Thank you for coming to India and especially here in Goa.
My name is Naveen. I'm from Bangalore, basically New Zealand citizen. I'm accompanying with Matthew Sinclair. We are here. I would say thanks to given the opportunity this opportunity is created by Mishra and King's School Chairman. Matthew this is second year visit to Bangalore. We have academy we set up back in Bangalore, like St. Francis School Academy. We last year we had a good success training the kids in Bangalore. So this year we have introduced some of the schools and academies. The school is approached us to visit here and see what will be the future opportunities. That's what I'm here. We are here. If you have any questions, I'll just hand over to Matthew. You can ask questions and he'll just give a small introduction. What is his experience in India? Thank you.
Okay, so welcome, and yeah, look, it's a real pleasure to be actually in Goa. This is my first time I've been in Goa. I've heard so many good things about Goa. I've already been for a swim in the beach this morning in the sea. So as New Zealanders, we are surrounded obviously by water. So it's very, very nice to come up this way here from Bangalore. I must admit the heat's a lot different from Bangalore. It feels very, very humid, but you know, it's a great pleasure to actually be part of the school. The introduction this morning was absolutely fantastic, so it's a real pleasure to be part of that. And I guess also a pleasure to be part of just helping the kids out, letting them learning from someone who's been around the game for a long time. So obviously I've got New Zealand international experience, coaching experience, and I guess for me, I want to give back. Okay, so you know, we've got a lot of Kiwis playing in the IPL this year. Okay, we've had a very successful international series back in New Zealand and abroad. And I guess for me to be coming over to India, as I said, this is my second year. It's just a good way to impart a lot of my knowledge onto the kids, and hopefully they become better cricket players from it. We are starting to find that here in this country here now, where we are getting a lot of foreign coaches over here, aren't we? You know, in IPL teams. So I guess for me to be part of that, probably not at that level just yet, but certainly I've got some aspirations to be part of hopefully a team like that. And obviously from where I'm from, and obviously coaching in Bangalore, we've got Daniel Vittori as the coach there, and we've got almost half the New Zealand cricket team there for RCB. Which haven't been performing all that well lately, but we can discuss that later on. But no, look, it's a real great pleasure to be here. I thank all the people that have been involved to get me over here, and you know, hopefully, you know, these kids can get something from my experience. Generally, my coaching philosophy is very, very simple. I do keep a very sort of simple sort of way about my coaching. I generally talk to a lot of kids about if there's 1% that you can learn from what I'm saying to you today, then I feel like I've done my job. So hopefully they can understand my English. Even though you guys do speak English over here, I must admit when I talk to somebody for about 2 minutes, they look at me blankly and then they say, "I'm sorry, but I did not understand." But no, or I could either sign language, but no, look, thank you very, very much. And really looking forward to working within the school system, and in fact looking at working within the whole Indian system as a whole to really give us a bit of a Kiwi experience, and hopefully something they can learn from and then take forward. That's pretty much what I'm here for. So if anyone's got any questions from the media, now's your opportunity.
Post-retirement, actually, you had different, maybe you have tried different not been cricket. So you tried your hand at coaching as well. So is this a second inning for you? Do you do this full time, or and what brought you to India, especially in terms of coaching?
Yep. No, so very good questions asked there. So he's basically asked me, I guess when I retired from cricket. So I retired when I was about 37. So I've been out of international cricket for the last 4.5, 5 years. And yeah, post-cricket was tough to deal with. So I'm 42 years of age now. So I've played literally half my life for one sport. So I've only played for one association, which is Central Districts Cricket Association. And so literally half my life has been with one sport. So yeah, it's been a very big part of me as a professional cricket player. I was picked up at a very young age. I was picked up at 17 years of age to play for Central Districts, and then basically from there onwards I went through the hierarchy of playing for Central Districts, New Zealand under 19, New Zealand A, and then obviously got my fantastic opportunity to represent my country for New Zealand, which I did obviously my debut. And obviously a lot of questions been talked about, you know, my form being a bit up and down over those years, particularly with test match cricket. And I guess like most things, you know, New Zealand cricket was going through a bit of a stage where I think in 5 years we had 5 coaches. So we were very much up and down in regards to where we had consistency, where we lacked consistency. But in particular to your question there, you know, post-cricket for me now is I'm a real estate agent, but I'm a registered real estate agent. Okay, but no, look, it's and for me, like I mentioned before, my opportunity to come over to India is to impart a lot of my knowledge that I've learnt over 25 years of playing cricket for these kids to learn from, take on board, and then hopefully move forward with that. So I do have some aspirations of playing a bigger part here in India. The reason why is that I tend to find in New Zealand that cricket is only a 6-month sport in New Zealand, okay? So we only play cricket for 6 months of the year. The other 6 months of the year they play their winter sport. But yet here in India, you play 365 days of the year. You know what I mean? So why would I not want to come over here and actually impart a lot of my knowledge amongst the cricketers here, because it's just a great way of giving back for me, I find, and hopefully there are some opportunities for me to gather with my coaching experience. And I'm learning all the time as well. You know, I'm having to learn, I even learn from the kids, you know, just the way they go about playing their sport over here, because New Zealand conditions are way different from Indian conditions. So, but what we're finding now is that we're tending to find a bigger influence of foreigners coming here and playing here, aren't we? So, we're now evening it up in regards to how, I guess, Western culture or European culture is actually learning from how the Indians play. So, yeah, look, it's been a really whirlwind sort of time for me after my cricket career. There's no two bones about that. But now that I've got an opportunity to be over here, and it's been a blessed opportunity, so hopefully I can continue on with this and then open up other opportunities with other schools and or work with the ones that I have done to see them grow.
All right, I've got a question for you. Actually, I have 3 questions. We'll take them one at a time.
Okay.
So firstly, how different is it working with students? Because like you said, Daniel Latoli is in India, Fleming's also here working with senior players. And how different is it working with, you know, professional cricketers while you're working with students?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. I don't know, it sort of, it plays to me a little bit because, and you know, obviously, you know, when we're talking about this IPL and the coaching pathways, you know, like I'm a level 2 coach. I've spent a year down in Christchurch to study cricket, funnily enough. And you know, you're seeing all these players when they finish up their international career, they go straight into coaching jobs. You know, so I guess for me is, you know, how are they to give back to grassroots cricket? Sorry, you know, I've done that. I mean, I've got an 8-year-old and a 7-year-old, so I'm quite comfortable with working around those age group kids. I guess it's a question of how you talk to the kids, because you don't want to get too technical with them. A big part of my coaching is about enjoying the game. You know, you have such the passion for it over here, but for me it's about enjoying the game. And that's why I want to give back to any age group. Yes, the professional environment is the professional environment, okay, and we've all been there, done that, and obviously now it's a good chance to, I guess, see the kids learn from us and see how far they can take themselves forward.
The second question I'd like to ask you, like you said, you're also a real estate agent, Fleming's also into business. And if you look at most New Zealand cricketers, Shane Warne was a traffic cop before he became one of the fastest bowlers in the world.
Yeah.
While in India, we're very serious with their careers. We mostly pursue academics, and there was that when sports is a taboo. But New Zealand kind of breaks that. You could be a professional and then take up. So, what kind of advice would you give these children?
Yeah, no, look, very good questions again. Actually, they've all been quite good, actually. I guess for me is like, yes, there is a potential cricket professional career for anyone that's out there. I guess from my experience, imparting a lot of that onto the kids is that you've got to have a plan B, because anything can happen very, very quickly. You could actually break your leg, you could get a major injury, something else could happen, and then it's a question of what is my next plan B. So I encourage the kids to actually look at options, because I think options are great. I think if you have one path, one direction, it's a good focus. But then again, if something was to break that path, then what other options are available inside and around it? So I encourage a lot of the kids to play multi-sports, to go out there and play soccer, futsal, all those other things, to actually generate teamwork, attitude, discipline. So, studies is really important here in India as well, and that's fantastic. So you certainly want to encourage the kids to go and do their studies, because you've got to have a backup plan, really. And I didn't have a backup plan, and I'd be the first to admit that. I just thought that I was just going to go waltz into a job just like that because of who I was and what I had done. But it doesn't work like that in New Zealand, you know what I mean? It might be different here, but not in New Zealand. So I had to actually look at another career path line that I could actually sort of fit into. And to be honest, it's a very hard one to make, really, because again, I've spent half my life playing one sport. So for me to actually look outside of that was very, very hard. So hence why I impart a lot of that knowledge onto the kids to go out there and have options. Sure, try and push yourself to the limits. I get that, but then again, just don't forget your peripheral vision and around what you can achieve outside of that.
Right. One last question from my side is, at the time when cricket, the image of cricket, I would say, got a little tarnished with the ball tampering. What kind of advice would you give these kids? Something two young cricket heroes kind of took ball tampering, the Aussies, and it's something that's being spoken about by youngsters, looked down on sometimes, and it's something that has been there in the sport for a while. So how do you look at incidents like this?
Yeah, look, I think yeah.
Other than the ball tampering, even the matches.
Yeah.
That has given a bad name for the cricket.
Yeah. You want me to answer those? Look, I'm happy to answer those questions because, for me, cricket's all about playing hard but playing fair. The rules are rules, okay? Goodness knows when we had the incident where the Australians bowled underarm, that was actually within the rules. You know what I mean? So, but yet it was discouraged because of the way it actually was handled. So, I think, to be honest, with this ball tampering carry-on that's been going on, I see it as a real shame. The fact that Steve Smith and Warner aren't actually over here playing. They are fantastic players. They are leaders within leaders, okay? Now what's happening now is you've got a lot more media exposure now, okay? There are cameras everywhere. Match fixing, phones have to be handed in every time we go into that. I think greed's a big part of it. I think greed's a big part of it, especially in a country where their passion for the game is so huge and the stakes are so high that the pressure starts coming on. You could call it gullibility, or you could call it greed. So I guess the question is, how do you want to be viewed as a player? That's probably what I would put back onto the players myself. How do you want to be viewed out there in the general public, okay? And yes, we've got the Chris Cairns thing going on, we've got the Lou Vincent going on, we've got all the things that are tarnishing the game of cricket, which is actually a real damn shame. But yet, amongst the minority, there's some very, very good players that actually get out there and they play hard and they play fair. So, I guess from my point of view, I get questions asked of it all the time and I'm happy to answer them because, I've been a fair cricketer right through my whole career. It's a question I can hold my head up high and I can walk down the street and say I've given it my best go, okay? So, hence why I would put it on to these guys through here.
So what difference do you see in the kids at age group level regarding to cricket development in New Zealand, Netherlands, England and now in India.
The development opportunities in New Zealand are far outweigh what are actually here in this country, just purely because we've got so many multi-sport options. As I indicated that, cricket is only a 6-month game in New Zealand. The rest of it's played by rugby, soccer. And even the crossover of sports now is killing a lot of the kids off in New Zealand with cricket, because we generally lose a lot of the kids' ages from 14 to 18, where our biggest drop in actual numbers is 14 to 18, because obviously studies take part of it. Girls, boys, all those other things, cars, because we've got so many options for the kids. So our biggest drop off for development stage is between 14 and 18 in New Zealand. But yet here, there's certainly none of that going on, that's for sure.
What is your advice to promote participation of girls in cricket?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic to see. I was working with some of the girls today. Their skill level has got to a stage where it's just as good as the boys. And I love coaching the girls. It's just as much as the boys, but the girls, they listen a lot more. They're very good listeners. Okay, where the boys think they know it all. Okay, but no, I think the way there is now a format for girls to actually go and play cricket at the top level. We've seen it with the Indian women's, we've seen it with our own New Zealand Ferns, and we've even seen it in Australia now where there's actually a women's Big Bash. So there is a lot more opportunities opening up for women's sport in this country, and it's good to see, because I encourage it. Again, I'm an equal opportunity guy, okay? I don't go one way or the other. I have a very open mind in regards to everything, and I think it's fantastic that we've got girls part of this wonderful sport.
Does that create some anxiety for the future of cricket, because the profits of doing out of it's not only a Indian life left, and how do you cope with the situation, coaching kids all wide-eyed about
No, very good question. The way cricket is now, there is a lot more 2020 being played, and yes, I'm a traditionalist. I still believe that you've got to have the right base to go to that 2020 sort of style of cricket, and I encourage a lot of my coaches and my kids to go back to the basics, because there's nothing better than seeing a ball being hit down the ground, being played correctly, because you can still see that being played. Williamson, I find, is a very good example of that, okay? He's not a basher, he takes his time, and he's consistent with that. Yes, the way the 2020 format has been played now, where basically your strike rates are higher than the balls that have been faced, has certainly changed the game. But in saying so, we've still got to go back to the basics of actually knowing how to hit in the V. For the bowlers, also knowing how to put the ball and execute the ball in the right areas. It does concern me. It does concern me, just purely because there is so much 2020 cricket being played now, because it's all about that, okay? Because it's a short, sharp game. I mean, I've even heard sort of T10 being formatted, There's so many, they're cutting the game down less and less all the time. And I get that, but there is a place for it, don't get me wrong. But then I think there's a better place for it in test match, because it is a test match. That's why they call it a test. You know what I mean? It's good to see bowlers bowling time. Good to see batters batting time. Okay? That's the mentality. And all it is actually a mentality change from that to another format. So, but at the end of the day, I get it. We are professional cricket players. We are entertainers. Our job is to entertain. Okay? We're out there to entertain, to get bums on seats, to create the opportunity for these kids out here to want to take up the sport. Okay? So that's how I would probably answer that question there.
What do you think opportunities like this could do to youngsters when they interact with a foreign coach? Especially in a country where we're very obsessed with maybe an overseas coach motivating children. Also, the fact that Goa has not seen too many opportunities. What do you think opportunities like this do when you have someone like Matthew Sinclair come in?
And there's a lot of friendly culture among the coach and the player. So when a coach from the other country comes in, the coach doesn't know the player who he is, what is his background. He only focuses on the game. So that's how I see that. So a coach from foreign country, I think, is a better coach for India.
I guess my selection for New Zealand was actually by chance, wasn't by option. Matthew Horn broke his thumb or his finger, and they were looking around for another top order batter. And I'd actually been consistently scoring quite well that year, and there was quite a few rumours going on that, hey Matt, just keep doing what you're doing because your opportunity's not far away. So my opportunity was actually come about by an unfortunate accident with Matt Horn. Otherwise I don't think I would have done what I have done. So, but then again, there's a good question back to the kids there. When you do get an opportunity, make the most of it, because you never know what else could happen after that. So my debut was very similar to that. Here was a total unknown coming from first class cricket to represent New Zealand against a very, very good West Indian side. Like Lara was there, Courtney Walsh, etc., etc. So, here's like a rookie as of such to come involved in the big scene, and then did what I did do, was just purely around just the mental side of the game to say that I can actually do this. And I ended up going and doing what I did, and then the rest was basically history. So selection-wise, I was selected by Sir Richard Hadley. He basically rang me up, said, Skip, my nickname's called Skip. Skip, congratulations, you're playing in the next test match. I was like, whoa, heck. It was just I received my black cap the night before I was selected to play for New Zealand, which was a great honour, and then basically just went out there and did my job and carried it from there. So there wasn't too much pressure from the selectors. I think I put pressure on myself, I guess, because the expectations were very high. I mean, goodness me, to go and get 214 on debut, it's pretty rare, especially nobody knows anyone. So I was the first New Zealander, and I still am the only New Zealander to do it, and I'm the third in the world to do it. But I guess my expectations started to increase by the public and the media, because they thought I was the next Martin Crowe. And then every time I was going out there and batting, they expected me to score double centuries all the time. But of course, like this game of cricket, every situation is different, okay? And the pressures to perform was probably pressure on myself to perform, I think, more than anything. And that was really hard to deal with. I found it quite hard to deal with media, because the pressure was quite high, because they wanted runs out of me all the time. And like most things in the sport, I talk a lot to the kids about controlling the controllables, because I can't control certain aspects of my game. I can't control the umpires, and I can't control certain aspects of it, like I mentioned. But for me, I guess it was just that internal pressure that sort of got me into my form slump of going up and down. But like most things, I learned from that, and that's why I want to impart a lot of my knowledge onto these kids, to be positive, because this game is a negative sport, and a lot of my coaching influence is about being positive.
Cricket, and that's supposed to be the highest quality level of cricket. But with T20, that a lot of cricketers are getting opportunity to get more money or
Specialise. Yeah.
And you said that cricket is a 6-month sport in New Zealand.
Yep.
So is it a good time to be a cricketer, and how do you see that?
Yeah. Hey, look, I think any time's to be a good cricketer. I mean, I think what I've certainly learned with the years of me travelling around the world is the friendships you make, the countries you see. So I will never forget those. So for me, I think there is a lot more opportunities now in this modern environment than there were when I was playing. So when I basically looked at ending up my career, I think the IPL was 2 years into it. I did put my name forward for the IPL and wasn't selected. They tended to go for Australians. Isn't it amazing how it's all changing around now, where every international team is looking at how well our Kiwis are doing at the moment, okay? And I think that's a good respect in regards to the culture that we have in the Kiwi side at the moment. I think McCullum started it, then Williamson followed it up. We have consistency with our selections now. I think when I was at the time of playing for New Zealand, our selections were very inconsistent. There was a lot of talk that I would play 2 games and then I'd be out and then I'd come back in again. So that played on my mind a little bit. But I think the strength of cricket in this country and the opportunities that cricket provides is second to none. And I really encourage a lot of the kids. I certainly wouldn't push them into it. I'm a parent, okay? So, I mean, I've got a young boy at the age of 8. I don't force him into play cricket. I like to let him make his own mind up. He may have strength somewhere else. So I encourage him to be there as a parent and as a father, to encourage him to be the best he can be at whatever he decides to do. Okay, so, but yet it's a different sort of culture over here. You almost sort of seen that if you are a cricketer, you follow the lines of a cricketer, or if you own a business, you follow that lines. And I get that. But you've got to really realise that this world is a big world. You know, I mean, there's a lot of options there, but yeah, there's some good opportunities for cricketers. Specialisation is starting to happen now. You know, there's Test match one day in 2020 players being selected. We've seen Mitchell McClenaghan just decide to play 2020 cricket. We've seen others follow the same way as well. McCullum's doing it as well. So there are still a lot more opportunities outside of international cricket. And yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. Any opportunity to play the game for the love of the game is highly encouraged.
For coming, making time to be here. We have some refreshment for you to eat. Can we help yourself? And thanks once again to Matthew and Marine this year. And to our students also. Thanks. Michelle, thank you very much.